They say if someone or something feels off, it usually is the case, and you mustn't ignore your gut feel. Your intuition or gut feel is your soul's built in radar. Trust your instincts, and if the friendliness seems phony, beware, you're dealing with a gaslighter. In my previous video, I had shared how to identify these psychological manipulators. Now, let's discuss how to break free from their ill influence and get your control back. We are all free spirits, and we have the most powerful gift of free will, which even the gods and the angels don't interfere with. Then why do we let a mortal being affect us so much? We underestimate our own power. Is gaslighting a dark power? Well, it's the deepest kind of moral wrong. We all question whether we're right about something. Gaslighting takes that necessary quality for human interaction and uses it to undermine our ability to interact at all. And that is dark. A person might gaslight once or twice, but when you see a repeated pattern in the behavior, watch out. It is not okay for someone to treat you poorly and then pretend it didn't happen, making you question your own grasp on reality. This dynamic is called gaslighting. It's a common tactic of abusers to shift the focus of the blame from their bad behavior onto the person they're victimizing. One important side effect of gaslighting is having your own memory black out after a fight, because your brain is trying to protect you from the cruelty of the abuse, which results in not being able to remember how an argument even started. You may start to internalize the idea that there's something wrong with you and that you did something wrong to provoke the situation as you're increasingly beaten down and confused. Gaslighting is an insidious form of abuse which harms you slowly, like slow poison. If you alter your behavior because you're frightened of how your partner will react, you are being abused. You need surgical separation from such people and get as far away as possible. And if you're unable to do so, please drastically reduce interactions and never let them see you sweat, because seeing you affected is their payoff, knowing that they succeeded in upsetting you. Now, don't give them the desired reaction and they'll leave you alone. You can't give them a tit for tat here. You don't bark back at a mad dog, do you? And if you succeed in giving them a taste of their own medicine and they go silent in shock at that time, don't be fooled, they'll come back for you. Please know that confronting a gaslighter almost never works. When you try to bring up their efforts to distort reality, they'll only distort it further and refuse to acknowledge what they're doing. With all that said, if you think you're a victim of gaslighting, here are some tips on how to get your control back. Disengage. The best decision you will ever make here is to walk away and cut off all contacts and go radio silent. Don't let the gaslighter even attempt to convince you that things will be different this time around. They'll start the whole sending you on a guilt trip again. Manipulating is their basic default. If your partner genuinely wants to change, then they'll acknowledge the wrongdoings and will apologize. They will ensure they do not repeat the same mistakes again, and you'll see that in their actions. But you can't change a person, and if the gaslighter refuses to change their destructive and abusive behavior, then leaving the relationship for the sake of your mental and emotional sanity is your best option. Don't blame yourself for calling them out on their bullshit. Their twisted ways aren't your fault. Logic and reasoning don't work with them, and the sad truth is that they may never realize or admit to their wrongdoings because they don't think that they're doing anything wrong. All you can do is remember that there's nothing you could have done differently. And it's important to remember that how they treat you is a reflection of how they feel about themselves. It's not about you. You know who you are and what's best for you. No one gets to define that. You must stand by your decisions. Don't let the self-doubt consume you. It was a manipulative seed sown by the gaslighter to destabilize your belief system. Trust your version of reality. Remember that 90s fiction movie Total Recall starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, who suddenly finds himself on Mars and is unable to determine if the experiences were real or the result of memory implants? Now, that wasn't his reality, but were actually the implants. So don't let the gaslighter alter your reality. Stand your grounds. Listen to your inner voice, it knows better. You don't need to win an argument with the abuser. You simply need to stand by your decisions, absolutely determined. Though be prepared for them to try everything in their power to get you back into their clutches. They need attention, and if they aren't getting it from a new relationship, they will come back for you. Keep no contact. You may have forgiven them, but don't forget they're still toxic. Things will never get better with a gaslighter, only worse. Self-defense is the best defense. Keep a record of your communication. Most of the times, a lot is lost between what is said and done. Keep a track of it all. Written proofs, or better yet, the digital proofs these days cannot be denied. Don't leave any margin for the BOD, because you might just give one to the smart manipulator who's always trying to shake your crowns. These proofs will help you prove the truth. Confide in a trusted support system. When you suspect being gaslighted, it's important to confide in a trusted friend, loved one, or a professional. Opening up to someone is not only an additional form of documentation, but it will help you make sense of what's happening to you while getting a third person's perspective. And it will also help you gain the courage to walk away if that is an option you choose. No one deserves to face such a psychological abuse. I do hope this was helpful. Sending you lots of love, courage, and positive vibes.